leaders at. So I'm going to respectfully request that if you're a leader, please stand up. All right. You may be seated. Perfect. I love that I am a leader amongst leaders. That is fantastic. So we're going to dive right into who I am. My name is Greg Maude. I am first and foremost a disciple of Christ. I live my life to, one, bring honor and glory to Christ, and two, add value to people. So can I get an amen? Yes, amen. Next, I am the husband to Rachel. And you want to talk about leaders? My wife is a leader. She popped out 4 kids, 4 years, 3 months, 20 days. Now, she was pregnant for like 5 years. She's a champion. So my son is Zeke Perry. My second, DM Rosie. Then there's Ruby Rain and Eden Emmy. Beautiful children. Those are my purpose. So as a disciple of Christ, I am called to be a man, and authentic manhood is to reject passivity, accept responsibility, lead courageously, and invest eternally. So that's who I am, and that's what's important to me. Oftentimes you'll go out to these events and people will be like, so let's introduce ourselves. And they go, name, title, company. What you do is not who you are. Who I am is a disciple of Christ. Who I am is a husband. Who I am is a father. So remember that when you go out into the world. So I'm going to do my best to not go over the 25 minutes when I do this. So, boom. So quick setup and flow. Tell them what you're going to tell them what you told them. So you need to hear something 3 times in order to remember it. I took this training at Genpact, and it was a Harvard training. I thought it was great. I was like, yeah, tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them, and tell them what you told them. So here we go. First, we're going to define leadership. Now, I understand that we're at Walsh College. So we're going to start from the same page, and we're going to discuss what leadership is. And then next, I'm going to try to bang out my military experience quickly, hit you with some stories, some big leadership takeaways. Then leadership at home. Already talked about it, being authentic, leading at home. I have a responsibility as a father and a husband to be as a leader. Also, then we're going to talk about the panacea for leadership, basically the fix-all. So let's go. Defining leadership. Huge John Maxwell fan. Leadership can be defined as influence. Everybody in this room has the ability to influence somebody. So if you're on your cell phone right now and you're texting, that's great. If you're tweeting, outstanding. But you're probably going to influence somebody next to you. So they might do the same thing. Next, it's the ability to obtain and maintain followers. There's plenty of people that can get followers and then lose them, but to maintain them is important. So you go into an organization, you have a lot of good ideas, people are excited you show up, and then eventually they're like, okay, I can't follow this person anymore. So there's mistakes that we make, and I'll talk about that. Like Tina said, I'm all about fail early, fail often, fail forward, and learn from your failures. Success is built off failure. So when you look at somebody and think, oh, he's wildly successful, she's amazing, she did it all. I promise you, underneath there is just failure after failure after failure. And it's not a position, rank, or title. So ultimately, some people will look at the CEO, and there's the organizational hierarchy, and then there's the social hierarchy. And we can talk about the difference between authority, which I am the CEO, we're going to do it my way, or power. This is a frontline troop that everybody listens to because they're gregarious, charismatic, they're a leader, and I listen to them. I care about them. Greg is authentic, and I follow passion. I follow authenticity. And then, like I said, everybody in this room has influence, so you're all leaders. So thank you for standing up. Next, leadership defined. Truly, what is leadership? Solving problems. John Maxwell says no good leader has 2 good days in a row. Every single day, basically in HR, people come to your desk with a problem. I didn't get paid. I want a promotion. I'm quitting. My boss is treating me unfairly. There's discrimination. Every single day you're dealing with those issues. So there's Gaga, there's Trump, there's Obama, and then there's HR. The fact that they call you HR shows that you're a leader. So make sure we solve some problems today, folks. So I graduated high school early and wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I graduated, and the next day I moved out, and I wanted to open up my own business in Galveston, Texas. We're going to open up a fancy restaurant. It's going to be awesome, make a lot of money, live the dream. That didn't happen because when you're 18 years old, nobody wants to finance you, and you don't have credit, so the bank isn't going to give you any money either. So my ambitions were quickly thrown aside. But 9/11 happened, and I was always said that if our country went to war, I'd be the first to sign up. So I was talking to my Uncle Donnie, that's on Christmas Day. Uncle Donnie's a great man. And he was in the Army. He was like, Greg, what do you want to do? He said, I want to be a Marine. I want to kick down the door. I want to get the terrorists. I want to get the bad guys. I'm angry. I'm 18. I want to do something. And he was like, whoa, 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 champion. Don't do that. He was like, he said, the only thing that I learned in the Army was how to kill people. It's not a transferable skill. What you need to do is go into the Air Force, have a transferable skill, get out, get a degree, and then you'll have a degree, and you'll have the experience, and you'll solve that paradox that so many are. I don't have experience, but I have a degree. Or I have experience, but no degree. So I followed my Uncle Donnie's advice to a T. I joined up into the United States Air Force, and my first duty station was in Anchorage, Alaska. And when I arrived, I met a guy named Adam Beck, one of the greatest reps, just an amazing man. He was scheduled to get married in August, and he got tagged to get deployed. And he was supposed to go to Iraq. And I was like, man, if I was getting married, I wouldn't want my first 6 months of marriage being in Iraq. So I went to the chief, I went to my commander, and I said, don't send him. He's getting married. Send me. And so it was see a need, meet a need. Let me hear you say it. See a need, meet a need. That's leadership. So I went to Iraq. As soon as I got there, we started getting the task, and I just looked at the guy next to me and I said, well, it's our time, it's our time. All glory to God. So that's how I went through. I came back, and it was a great deployment, had a lot of fun. But the leadership takeaway there is see a need, meet a need. So I saw a need, and I met a need. And this is me as the honor guard leader. So that was an active duty funeral that happened. So unfortunately, there was a military police officer who was killed in action in Iraq, and I had the honor to be the leader of the honor guard. So I was a leader amongst leaders, and it was amazing. It was honorable. We did a lot of great things, but ultimately, I think about that every day when I wake up, is that freedom is not free. We often forget that. We often forget that men and women have died for the pleasure of sitting here. And we just need to remember that as well. So my next tour was in Afghanistan. And Afghanistan was amazing because it was CJ SOAC, and what that stands for is Combined Joint Special Operations Air Command, CJ SOAC. And you may not know this, but there was actually a guy who was in the Navy, there was a guy who was in the Coast Guard who was in Iraq. So when he signed up for the Coast Guard, he never thought he was going to get deployed there, but then he met me on day one, and I was like, hey, he was an attorney, so that's why he was there. Anyways, so what I did in Afghanistan is I got to do my job in HR, so I'm going to give you some war stories, but they're HR war stories, so I'll do my best to deliver some heat here for you. My job was to do congressional inquiries, which was basically the troops writing the congressman complaining, and then I also did R&R. So R&R was for all the Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, Air Force that were there for a year, they got to go home. So whether it was their wedding anniversary, the birth of their child, parents' 50th wedding anniversary, all these amazing things that happened, I was the guy they came to. So I was like the lowest ranking person in the military, but the fact is everybody who outranked me needed something from me. Sound familiar, HR? I didn't need them, but they needed me. So everybody was super nice to me. Except one day, this staff sergeant in the Army came up to me and he was like, I want to leave on this weekend. I want to go to my daughter's high school graduation. I was like, cool. Let me see what I can do. Sorry, Staff Sergeant, that's booked. So what he did is he looked at his shoulder, and then he looked down at my shoulder, and that's basically pulling rank. It's a very disrespectful move in the military. And I was just like, oh man, this guy's mad. Anybody ever able to deal with a bad customer, mad customer? So yeah, exactly. So I just told him, I said, I'm sorry, Staff Sergeant, but there's nothing I can do. The flight is completely booked. So he was like, oh, is that your supervisor? I was like, yes, sir, that is. So he went up to my chief and he said, Chief, Senior Armand over there told me that I can't go home to see my daughter. I was like, oh, here it comes. My chief was, Armand, what's going on? I said, Chief, the flight's booked. You think so? Flight's booked. So Staff Sergeant left pretty upset. But that was a pivotal leadership moment. My leader had the opportunity to overturn my decision, to tell me, you're going to do it, you're going to take care of him, he outranks you, do it now. He didn't. Chief backed me up. And that to me was like, oh, so rewarding. So one of the things that we say in the military is, you always punish in private and you praise in public. And he praised me in public by backing me up. And as a leader, a good leader, you don't undermine your authority. Think about when you call up your credit card company and you say, I want this late fee reversed. And they're like, no, I can't. But then they're like, let me talk to your supervisor. And the supervisor goes, okay, we'll reverse that late fee, I'm sorry. How do you think that employee feels? Like I'm following the rules, but now you're overriding them. So back up your people as a leader. My last tour in Iraq, I got to go with the 23rd Special Tactics Squadron, and it was awesome. I'm telling you, I was on the big blue side, and we had some reflector belts, and it's really corporate. But on the Special Tactics side, you get to do what you want. You get to wear like civilian clothing, you get to grow your beards out, you don't have to wear reflective belts. It's awesome. It's like HR without the HR. So I was the embedded personnelist there, and as soon as I arrived, there was a guy who got a divorce, and his daughter was in Arizona, but he was stationed in Florida. So he came to me and he was like, "Ermon, I hear you're the new HR in town." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he was like, "Well, I would really like to get to Arizona. There's a job opening there. Can you help me?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, absolutely." So again, see a need, meet a need. So I looked, saw the job, saw his abilities. I was like, "Yeah, this is easy fit." Picked up the phone, made a call. Less than 48 hours later, he got orders. So he came back and talk about somebody who's happy, because think of how easy that was, just to pick up the phone, send an email. This guy wants to go here. Here's why. We have the power to do that in HR. We have the ability to change people's lives. Now that daughter is going to grow up with her father. Who knows where she's at today? And who knows where he's at? To me, it was small, but memorable because of his reaction. He was so excited, like, I get to be with my daughter. It's pretty important. I mean, there's a lot of women in this room. Imagine not having your fathers out there. And for those who didn't, you know the impact that had on you. And those that did, the impact that had on you as well. So I was happy to do that. And the leadership that I was there with was Master Sergeant Tom Sansoni, and he was awesome. He was me when I was 22, 23, whatever the age was, but like 20 years older. That's not a good thing. But he was a great man and a great leader because he used words of affirmation to me all the time. And as a leader, we need to ensure what we do is speak the love language of our colleagues. And when I say love language, I know it's rebranded now to be the 5 effective communication methods in the workplace. It's still words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, touch. And what's the 5th one? Anybody? Gifts. Exactly. And gifts is what we give as employers. Here's a gift card. Only 6% of the workforce wants gifts. Nobody thanks for the Amazon gift card. Great. Wonderful. Really engaged here. Give them a word of affirmation. Tell them thank you. Lifetime feedback. Don't wait 6 months for their performance review, for their semi-annual. Give the recognition lifetime. And that's what Master Sergeant Tom Sansoni did for me all the time when I was in Iraq. He would build me up and build me up because I had a pretty checkered past and got in trouble a lot in the military, but whatever. Life was good. So I went back after my last tour in Iraq, and I was with the 18th Flight Test Squadron. And the cool thing about being in the 18th Flight Test Squadron is I was the lowest ranking person there. Everybody was a senior NCO or an officer, which meant laissez-faire, because everybody had the autonomy and got to do what they wanted. So as a young airman who liked to sleep in or leave early, I got to do that. I still got the job done, but they respected me. And so I had 2 weeks off. And the 2 weeks off for R&R to get back to being in the civilian world and not in the deployed zone, I was on MySpace, and I saw a comment from this really hot chick. And she was like, "Who's that guy?" And I was like, "Who's this girl?" So I checked out her MySpace, looked at the pictures, and was like, "Oh, hello." So I slipped into her DM, and I said, "Who are you?" Which she responded, "Who are you?" You obviously know me. From there, that's how I met my wife. And obviously, it's good. But so I talked to her.